Larry Steinhouse, and welcome to Money Chat Now. Money Chat Now is a politically charged stock market pre-show giving you the politics behind the biggest moves in the stock market. It is presented with comedic common sense by an expert in financial literacy, and hey, that's me, Larry Steinhouse. Today is Monday, March 9th, and I want to welcome you to the show. We are here live on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia, and we are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Hey, you can find me, of course, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, True Social, TikTok, and all those other social media sites by searching Larry Steinhouse. And make sure you do that. And just a reminder, if you're watching online, hit that like button, hit that share button, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel because we need subscribers again because they shut me down again. So go to Money Chat Now and try to find that YouTube channel and subscribe to it. Hey, like the Money Chat Now page on Facebook, and you can comment live during the show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and please say hi so I know you're watching. Real quick, I'm going to say hello to a couple people watching. Wow, a whole bunch of people jumping online right now. We got Joe and James and Charles and Larry and Jim and Peter and Joe. So, hey, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for watching. I totally appreciate you guys. Money Chat Now is brought to you by Investor Schooling, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday by going to investorschooling.com. There you will learn about real estate investing, stock option trading, even how to save money on taxes, and how to get out of the Biden economy. Ugh, blah, 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 blah. All right, so today's show, we're going to be discussing the futures update. Speaking about, it's terrible. We'll talk about it in a minute. We're going to be talking about a shift in spending. We're going to be talking about Intuit's $141 million settlement. We're going to be talking about the fact that hiring is slowing down. And then I have a question, is money real? And then we'll get into my opinion of the Ukraine war. All right, let's get into the futures real quick. So anyway, there was another prediction that I called dead on Friday. If you remember, on Friday, I said the market would be terrible in the morning, and then it would close up or down about 100 points. Well, by 10:30, the market was down about 500 points. It started to turn around and even slowed down, and finally, it ended up about 98. I'm sorry, it ended down about 98 points. The problem was not many stocks were positive, and many, especially tech stocks, were hit pretty hard. It appeared that energy stocks were back on the move on Friday. The energy stocks seemed to be playing off the turmoil of the war and the fact that Memorial Day weekend is coming soon. So you got to remember that gas always goes up. This Memorial Day weekend should be a big one as travelers have already succumbed to the inflation costs. Under Armour, by the way, was a big loser on Friday when the stock plummeted 25% and is now down just to about $10 a share. You know, I got to tell you, there's another stock that pre-scamdemic was hovering between 13 and 20 regularly, and the lowest low was the summer of the scamdemic when it hit 7.5. So if you're looking for a quick play, this might be a play here at the current price. I don't think Under Armour is going out of business, so I think it might be a good play. I did also notice that Rivian is now down to 28.79 a share. Wow. What a disappointment for those who bought this at a high a few months ago of almost 180. You know, I did say that when it was hit 180, it was way too high. I even said when the IPO was way too high, but I never expected it to go this low. In fact, many of the IPOs from the last 2 years are performing terribly. Coinbase and Robinhood are among the worst. Coinbase is now about 105, and Robinhood is around 10. It seems like the crypto market and the millennial basement-dwelling traders are just about done. Makes sense to me, though. I saw this other markets throughout the years that turned bad. It actually reminds me of something else. Watch for these low-service real estate companies who are advertising little or fixed commissions, and they're all going to disappear in the next 2 or 3 years. I remember them all popping up in the 2005 to 2008 era, and then they all disappeared under the rock they came from. You know, for now, basically, home demand is still high, and inventory is still low, but about this time next year, it's going to be very different. Crypto took a big beating this weekend, and Bitcoin was down below 34,000 Sunday. And this is what I expected. I said to look for about 32,000, and then it'll start to go in the high 40s again. But it may even go lower than 30,000, 32,000, 33,000 before. It also appears to be set in a range, so if you're inclined, go for it. But I would get out of 40,000. The days of hoodling are over. I would definitely not hold. Definitely not hold. I would look at Ethereum to do the same and wait for it to go about 2,200 or less and get out about 3,000. Now, the VIX is hovering at about 30. And as I explained last week, this fear indicator is high right now. It means we are still in for a wild ride this week. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you my prediction at the end of the show. Right now, the futures are dismal, and I mean dismal. The Dow futures are down 530 points. The S&P is down 79, and the Nasdaq is down 313. Ugh, it's just horrible, and I'm getting a little nervous, and I'm going to talk about it at the end of the show about where I think the market's going to go today. All right, real quick, couple of people have joined us online. I want to make sure I say hello. Victor and John and Robin and Mark and Jose. Thanks so much. I totally appreciate you. If I didn't already say it, Jane, thank you so much for joining us. All right, let's talk about a shift in spending. So people are starting to feel the heat of inflation, and some are realizing that the good times may be over. There's a shift in spending right now that's become very apparent. Spending has shifted from goods to services as consumers get back to eating out at restaurants, taking vacations, and attending live events. When you look at e-commerce companies like Etsy, Shopify, and Wayfair, shares plummeted over the last week as the e-commerce companies offered weak forecasts. All three stocks are down at least 60% in 2022 and hit 52-week lows in recent trading sessions. Ugh. Meanwhile, Bank of America said that spending at airlines and travel agencies jumped up 60% in April from the same month last year, while event ticket agency spending soared 140%. OpenTable, the restaurant booking app, recently called out strong early bookings for Mother's Day reservations, and of course we'll find out how they did, but they had really good bookings for Mother's Day reservations. It said reservations made by April 18th for Sunday's holiday were up 39% compared with pre-pandemic bookings made in similar period for the May 12th holiday, which that just passed, of course. Along with this, there's been an increase in credit card purchasing as well as a decrease in savings. It appears to me that many believe this is going to be the last time in a while that they'll be able to go away to a special destination. The economy is in a quagmire while some people adjust and while others sit back and wait for the recession. I got to ask you, are you traveling this year? Let me know if you're traveling. I have a trip planned at the end of this week. But, nothing more at this point for me. But then again, I'm also waiting for the vaccine and testing garbage to end before I take my favorite trips on cruise ships. They're still asking for vaccine cards, and they're still asking for tests. At least they're not wearing masks, so that's a good thing. So what does it all mean to you and I as an investor? Well, I'm going to tell you, it should be good news for the travel stocks. Now, I had mentioned before that I'm heavy into Carnival Cruise Lines, and it looks ugly again, but we'll see. The cruise stocks as well as the airline stocks are still nowhere near their averages before the scamdemic. The problem is the general market is taking these down along with it. So as the market goes down, these stocks are going down. But my option plays are out to the summer, and I am a little nervous because the summer is coming quickly. I still like the travel plays here, and I will see what the oil price problem does to them. However, after booking my plane tickets for my trip, they have definitely transferred the cost of fuel to the passenger. So hey, it may not be that bad for all the people who are booking trips. Hey, a couple people have joined us online. Hey, Colin, and it looks like Victor and John. Thanks so much. I totally appreciate you guys watching. All right, let's talk about Intuit for a minute. Have you guys heard about those commercials from TurboTax? The ones that say you could file your taxes for free if you use their software. Well, every year, we've seen this, every year they would advertise this concept, and of course, many would use the services of TurboTax to file their taxes. Well, it turns out that free wasn't quite so free after all, so here's what happened. TurboTax did, in fact, have a free version, but in order to qualify for the free version, your income needed to be below $39,000. This was actually an agreement with the free filing that the IRS uses in their website. The TurboTax interface just made it easier for the average person to navigate. So basically what happened is the IRS has their own free service, and TurboTax connected to it with a different interface. Of course, TurboTax also had other premium services for those making in excess of $39,000 a year. Well, Intuit played some interesting games with their advertising. Yes, they had the free version. The problem was you couldn't find it. They advertised free, but when you went to their website, all you could find was the paid-for version of the software. They even hid the page that had the free version from Google searches. So even if you tried to search for it, you couldn't find it. After many complaints, the Attorney General went after Intuit for unfair practices, and Intuit has agreed to settle. Apparently, everyone who used the service will be getting a refund of about $36 for each year they use TurboTax to file their taxes. So if you use TurboTax, hey, you're going to get $36 back. Unbelievable, right? Also, the company will no longer be allowed to advertise the free service to anyone, so expect next year's advertisements to not be free. All right, let's take a quick break, and we're going to get back to you. A couple of things here. Of course, the market update that I think how the market's going to do is coming up, so you definitely want to watch that. Let's take a break.
Okay, so you've thought about investing in real estate, houses, apartment buildings, properties, but don't really know where to start. Well, what if you could very easily learn how to gain strategies to use other people's money to buy and sell houses in the Philadelphia area? If you could learn and network with successful area real estate investors and how to produce monthly income on rental properties without headaches, that place is Investor Schooling. With Investor Schooling, you'll learn from two Philadelphia area rockstar real estate investors, Phil Falcone and Larry Steinhouse, about how to buy and sell properties the easy way and teach you basic and advanced techniques to help you make money in real estate. You can attend Investor Schooling in person or online visual classes 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate. Call for free information and get a complimentary pass to one of these classes. But don't delay, as these complimentary passes are limited. Call the number on your screen now or visit investorschooling.com. investorschooling.com.
Free class. All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. And if you'd like more information on investor schooling, hey, didn't I just say that? You can go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829, 866-424-2829. And I want to thank everybody for listening on WWDB Radio and 860 AM in Philadelphia. And if you're watching online, please hit that share button so you can help your friends learn about how to make more money. Hit that like button. Let me know you enjoy the show. And you can also leave comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and I'll try to respond to them live. Hey, we've been discussing the futures update, and the futures are miserable. Right now, the Dow is down 535 points. The S&P is down 80. The NASDAQ is down 318 points. Oh, man, this is miserable. All right, we talked about Intuit. We talked about a shift in spending. Let's get into the fact of whether money is real and my opinion of the Ukraine war. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about today's picks and plays. But first, did you guys hit that like button yet? Did you hit that share button? Don't forget to leave comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. And if you're listening on WWDB Radio, be sure and set a preset to this station and listen every day at 7:30. Also, look up Money Chat Now on Facebook when you get home and let me know what you think of the show. Hey, before we start the second half, we all know a financial situation is coming. Look, it might be a recession, it might be a simple downturn, but if you want to survive through it, order my new book. Go to barnesandnoble.com and look up Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse. Pre-order it, and I promise you're going to learn something. There are chapters on this book about how to make more money and how to pay less taxes. I made about $100,000 this month or last month, and I can tell you that I'll never pay taxes on that money, and I mean never. Learn from me as I teach you how to do that and so many other hacks. So you definitely want to take a look at that. All right, let's talk about hiring and hiring slowing down. It was just last week when I reported that there were 5 million more job openings than people who wanted to work. I said it before, and it's starting to happen. The job market is going to start slowing down. 2 tech giants, Meta and Uber, are announcing that they're slowing down hiring employees. Uber, who reported earnings last week, had a major loss and is now looking to fix this problem by hiring less people and advertising less. In an email to the employees, Dara Khosrowshahi, I don't know how to say his last name, is the CEO of Uber, said, after earnings, I spent several days meeting investors in New York and Boston. It's clear that the market is experiencing a seismic shift and we need to react accordingly. Other points in the email stated, to address the shift in economic sentiment, Uber will slash spending on marketing and incentives and treat hiring as a privilege. He continued to say, we have to make sure that our unit economics work before we go big. Before we go big? He's already gone big. Anyway, the Uber boss continued, the least efficient marketing and incentive spend will be pulled back. So when marketing doesn't work, you pull back. I know that. I do it all the time. We will treat hiring as a privilege and be deliberate about when and where we add headcount. We will even be more hardcore about costs across the board. And basically, it makes the ride-hailing giant the latest tech company to warn of a slowdown in hiring. Facebook also last week said that it would told their staff that it would stop or slow the pace of adding mid-level or senior roles, while Robinhood is cutting about 9% of its workforce. This is the near future. Hiring is going to slow, jobs are going to be harder to find, and unemployment will start to increase. This is the time to learn how to be an entrepreneur. I'm telling you right now, when the world's financial situation changes, you need to be ready. I hope you are, because the bottom is going to be dropping out. Look, I've told you before, come see me in Investor Schooling, and I teach you how to do it. This is why we exist, to keep your personal economy always growing. And by the way, I have a prediction. I predict that Uber and Lyft will merge in a couple of years. Not yet, but in a couple of years, very much like the way Sirius and XM Radio merged many years ago. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about money itself. So is money real, right? In this about to be a recession-filled country, we still have crazy politicians, like the president, who thinks money grows on trees. We had the most ridiculous set of stimulus packages during this pandemic. We had $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill passed, and we keep sending money to Ukraine. Wouldn't it be nice to have an unlimited credit line on a credit card, and the bank would just say, hey, just pay it when you feel like it? Well, that's what the government is doing. The government just keeps spending money with no plan on recovering that money. They keep talking about taxing the rich, but as someone who understands how taxes really work, even if they pass some of the ridiculous tax laws they're trying to pass, it will hardly add to the tax base. It's just lip service to get their base of supporters fired up. I don't know who created it, but the Debt Clock website is fascinating. I don't know if you've ever been there. Look up the Debt Clock, the Debt Clock, and you'll find it amazing. It shows the total debt in the United States, and it shows how much they owe. It now tops $30 trillion. How much is $30 trillion? Heck if I know. But if you look at the debt clock, it's hard to say, the debt clock, it also shows how much money per individual is owned. Right now, that number comes to a whopping $242,000 per taxpayer. I know it gets you fired up, but don't worry about it. Our brilliant president is going to save us. He has a plan. Right now, his plan includes spending even more money and getting this country deeper in debt. He must have a plan, along with the other Democrats, or they wouldn't be spending all this money, would they? I don't know how we elect such stupid people to office. Wait, I know the answer. Go see 2,000 Mules, and you'll find out. By the way, I haven't even seen it yet, but just the trailer is fascinating. The people have come back and reported to me. It's amazing. So go see 2,000 Mules, and you'll understand how we got into the situation that we're in right now. I'm kind of thinking the president wants us all to experience what he experienced when he visited the Pope. He wants us all to stain our pants when we find out how bad the economy really is. Proof that you should never mess with a Democrat. You're right. A couple of people online coming on. Rob and Michael, thanks so much. I totally appreciate it. All right, Ukraine money. Let's talk about Ukraine money because I just think it makes sense. I was thinking about this and how confusing it is to me. So President Poopy Pants is now sending $800 million to Ukraine, including weapons and other military aid. I realize that if we just defend Ukraine against Russia, then we've essentially started a world war with Russia and possibly start a complete World War III, right? So here's my confusion. How is it that we can send war machines, bombs, and ammunition and not call that helping Ukraine in the war? Wouldn't it just be simpler and more effective to send troops to guard certain areas of the country? At this point, what's the difference anyway? Ukraine is being plummeted as they hold their own. And, by the way, that was a surprise to me. I was surprised to see that Ukraine held their own on this, but I'm pretty happy that they did. But it makes you want to get up and cheer for Ukraine, and many of you do. But what are we really doing to stop this war? The Russians planned for the sanctions that were coming after Crimea, and they set themselves up to not really feel any pain. So this war will continue until either Putin gets bored with it or until it escalates out of control. I personally don't believe Putin will get bored with it. In fact, each day I think he gets more and more excited about it. He will even make a speech on what was called the Victory Day last week. So he did this whole thing on Victory Day, and he justified his invasion. He blamed the United States for it. I'm sure there's sort of a half-truth in that somewhere, especially with the connection of the Biden family to Ukraine. but it just means Putin isn't going to back down. So what do? I say go for it. Stop the madman in his tracks. We can escalate it, or he can escalate it. Nuclear weapons will be the excuse the United States needs to get involved, but should we wait for it? I seriously don't know, but I will tell you that, we're living on a time where it's going to be recorded in history as a major shift in how we are as a planet and a country. By the way, how weird is it that both Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi went to Ukraine in the middle of an unpredictable war to meet with President Zelensky? Were the Democrats trying to escalate by having an incident affecting the lives of the Speaker in the House and or the First Lady? I don't know, there's some crazy stuff going on for sure. It's kind of weird. I mean, really? That is such a security risk. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Larry Steinhouse, and I've written a book called Money Hacks. The subtitle to this book is because everything you think you know about money is wrong, and I promise you there are things you think about money that are wrong. There are chapters in this book that I think you will find absolutely fascinating, and some of them are, what is money anyway? Can money buy happiness? I'll bet you don't know the answer to that question. The truth about credit scores, how you can actually use credit cards to rebuild your credit. I also have chapters on being your own bank, how to buy houses with an IRA, and how to invest with other people's money. There are so many other chapters. There are 22 total chapters in this book, and I promise you're going to learn how to make more money and pay less taxes when you buy this book. My name is Larry Steinhouse. The name of the book is Money Hacks. You can get this book wherever fine books are sold, and you can go to barnesandnoble.com right now and pre-order it. I hope that you will enjoy it.
All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. Now I have no picture. Oh no, there I am. All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host Larry Steinhouse, and I'm really hoping you can make that book launch on June 1st. Go to moneyhacksbook.com to register for just $27. It even includes a great catered meal, and of course the jacket I will be wearing will even match the book cover. All right, so far we've been discussing the futures update and the Dow. It's not as bad as it was a little while ago. It's only down 450 points now instead of 550 points. Hey, we talked about a shift in spending that most people are going to start spending on. At least the data shows that most people are going to start spending money on trips instead of goods, which is kind of interesting. I think that's a good thing, especially because I need my CCL stock to go up. We talked about Intuit's $141 million settlement, where they basically ripped people off by saying that their services were free, and all the free people couldn't get it for free. We talked about hiring slowdown and how the fact that it's going to be tough to get jobs soon. We talked about the fact that money is unbelievable. The government spending is unbelievable. And we talked my opinion of the Ukraine war and how, I don't know, you might as well just go into Ukraine already and just do what you're going to do ultimately anyway and start World War III, because it really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of who's going to start it. And of course, we have coming up, we have today's picks and plays. But first, did you guys hit that like button yet? Did you guys hit that share button? Let everyone know a great stock picks are coming up by sharing this information. And you can share to your page or in groups that you feel will benefit from the great stock plays. Hey, you can also leave comments on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And real quick, hey, I got to tell you that Jane just said, I got to tell you, Larry, that really is a great book. Reading, by the way, and I got to tell you that a couple of people got advanced copies, and she was one of them. She's praising the book. Reading a finance book has always been mundane to me, but not Money Hacks. Also, of all things, it's hard to put down. She's saying my book is hard to put down. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Jane. I totally appreciate you. All right, and if you're listening, of course, on WWDB Radio, set one of your presets to this channel and listen every day at 7:30 for all that you need to know about politics behind the stock market. All right, let's talk about what's going on today in the market. I usually have great predictions for the day, but today I got to tell you, it actually baffles me. Usually I can feel it. I just don't feel good about it at all. The futures are telling me we're looking at another 1,000-point drop. The only thing that makes me think it won't happen is the fact that the market is clearly oversold. Now, the investors are definitely scared, and we have nothing that's going to drive up the market, but I will tell you that investors are addicted. They're addicted to buying stock. So that may keep it up. We'll see. But I also predicted that mid-May, the Dow would be down to about 31,500. And guess what? We're just about at mid-May. That's next week. And at that level, it's going to rest for a while, but I still see the market to be at 28,000 by the end of the year. Let's go, Brandon. The plays right now are caution. I have moved mostly to stocks, and I'm kind of like selling covered calls whenever the market moves up. Mid-June will be the next move up in the market, and that's the next 30 days are going to be torture. I'm telling you, they're going to be wild swings, but they're going to tick down. While I'm white knuckling my travel plays, I see the upside. Look for stocks to go back to where they were pre-pandemic, and then look for them to go for the lows of that year. That will be the temporary settling point. Look for days in the market that has huge pops, and then I'll even say that puts on the SPY will be the play. All right, final look at the futures. The Dow is down 421, the S&P is down 67, and the Nasdaq is down a whopping 277. All right, real quick on crypto. I got to tell you, when Bitcoin is this low, it's time to worry. No, not necessarily about Bitcoin itself, but as I've mentioned in the past, Bitcoin is often a tell for the market. Bitcoin is now around 33,000 and is clearly headed to below 30,000. And it's going to rest there for a while. I don't think it's going to stay below 30,000. It's not going to go far below 30,000. Gold and silver still baffles me. Gold and silver are not moving up as I would expect when the stock market moves down. And the only explanation I can see is that the bond rate is just too attractive for investors right now, and that's why gold and silver is staying there. So they're looking for a safe place to put their money, and the safest place, believe it or not, is bonds right now. Treasury bonds are an amazing place. We talked about the I bond, and we talked about how the I bond is giving 9.62% interest. It's insane that we're getting that kind of interest. So the Treasury bond right now, I'm going to tell you that the Treasury bond the normal is going to be over 3%. Look for 3.25% to 3.5%. That's definitely going to happen. Right now, we're just over 3%, right around 3.15%. And oil is hovering in the 105 to 110 range. So, it is what we are. I want to thank all the listeners on WWDB Radio AM in Philadelphia. I want to thank you for your continued support. If you're enjoying the show, please reach out and let us know. My name is Larry Steinhouse, and I am the host of Money Chat Now and the CEO of Investor Schooling. Hey, don't forget, order my book, Money Hacks. Go to barnesandnoble.com. Take a look at that. Look up Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse. Order the book, and hopefully we will see you this Thursday at Investor Schooling. Go to investorschooling.com. And don't forget, from time to time, I own some of the stocks and options discussed in this show, and the opinions discussed in this show is solely mine, and no one has asked me to discuss them. Have a great day, and make it a profitable day.
Please join us Mondays and Saturdays